So there was. We won't go too deep into this for reasons. But you mentioned to me that you have been part of some things in your life that I had no clue about.
Yeah.
And this was the whole focus. But then some other stuff happened, and we can't really talk about a lot of it.
Sure.
So we won't get into it. But you have been. You grew up in cult. Plural cults, cult.
Yeah.
You grew up in that kind of situation.
Yeah, I guess you can call it a cult or like a very heavy-handed, controlling church. Yeah, I grew up in it. I kind of was involved with two different cults, and like in the church world, they're very polar opposite. But I kind of found, in the end, they're doing the same things, which is like manipulate, control, and emotionally abuse people.
So the one that we'll go into.
Sure.
Your parents obviously were entered it.
Yeah.
Did they enter it at a young age?
No. I think, I don't know exactly when they started going to it, but I had always been involved. Well, I'd always attended. I never really got involved until I was like mid-teen sort of thing. Yeah, it's insane. It's funny now because like a lot of it I've forgotten. Probably as a coping mechanism, but I've forgotten a lot of like how crazy shit was, right? Like they're so in their own little bubble that like once you're out of it, you just completely like mind blown. Like why the hell was I there for so long and put up with so much shit? But when you're in it, it's just like so normal, and you like they thrive off of like yes men, people that would just say yes to anything, right? And like for whatever reason they like manipulate you into like a really passive aggressive person, or just a passive person that would just say yes to everything, and the shit you do is wild.
Yeah, right.
I mean, for example, like, and I think a lot of churches nowadays struggle with this, is talking about sex, talking about porn, and because of that there's a lot of shame and guilt in it, right? So a lot of dudes struggle with porn, right? Because they're so sexually repressed, they can't talk about it, right? And so it often leads dudes to go further down into that addiction and get worse and worse and worse, and then often they end up doing the craziest shit, right? But like I think a surefire way they thought will deal people with, they call it fornicating, rather than fornicate with like your girlfriend, just get married early, and so you'll be fine. So I got married at 20 and then had my son at 22 and was divorced by like 24.
Yeah, right. And when you first got married, you were still active in the cult?
Yeah.
Really? And so when did... Fuck, really?
Yeah.
No shit.
I'm not the only one. Like there's hundreds, like guarantee everyone I know from that era and in that time, they're either split up.
Can you say the name of one of it?
So the church I grew up in was called the Potter's House.
The Potter's House.
And so in the church world, it's like Pentecostal, it's evangelical, and it's like very strict. Like it's very legalistic, right? And so if you're a ministry, which everyone was anyway, you have to like wear a suit. If you're a guy, you have to wear a suit. You have to be clean shaven. You have to like, there's all these certain rules, no booze, no TV. Like it's so silly thinking about it now, but like back then thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, we just don't do that sort of thing, right? So you're like, and they use like, but the Bible to like twist and like to their own advantage, to like, they twist it to control people. And so they would say, oh, we're in the world, but we're not of the world, so we don't do things. No, obviously no tattoos, no sex before marriage. So yeah, like I said, to deal with that, you just get married early.
That's fucking... So when did you start graffitiing?
So I would write graph as a kid, like early teens.
But that would have been considered very fucking naughty.
Yeah. I didn't become like a quote unquote Christian until I was like 15 or 16.
And then you jumped in.
Yeah, like head first.
What's the for someone who's never been a part of a cult? I've always wanted to start one, but I've never been a part of one.
Yeah.
What's the, are you fucking just not feeling like, what makes you get into it?
Well, I think the culture is very all-consuming, right? So the other church that I went to, like, they're big on culture. And so your entire life revolves around it. You've got these friends that are in these, like, circles. Like, every day, literally every day, you're doing something with them. So it's about, like, you know, they would say it's
Community.
about building community, but it's more about, like, holding a tight leash on people.
And there's obviously, I imagine your parents would have had to pay funds towards the church.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, it varies. The first church that I went to were, like, a really unsuccessful church. Like, the amount of attendance I'd have at the max would be, like, 50 people. Whereas the other church that I went to would be at least 3,000 or 4,000 on a Sunday, right? And in those church circles, like, they have this thing called the tithe, which is like 10%. And that is also like the benchmark. That's just the bare minimum. And so you're often encouraged to give like a lot more. And most people in those churches are broke and they're giving everything they have. And so they're even more broke. The other church I went to was a bit different. They had multiple like millionaires in there and they'd give donations as a tax write-off.
It's fucking... And then at what point do you realise, oh, I'm getting fucked over here?
I think I had a few different turning points. So the last church that I went to, like that my ex-wife, like she split, and so I was in like what they call ministry. Like there's a lot of Christian jargon, right? So I was in ministry. I was in the creative department. That's another thing. Like to kind of control that many thousands of people, they kind of like segregate it into different departments. And so I was in like the worship team in the creative department. And so because of this like separation, like they gave me a break, which meant I was kind of socially outcast from that sort of group. And so they put me in another department. This is how dumb it is. It's like they put me in another department called the young adults. And they were like, I was like, 24 or 25, recently separated with a kid. And like the young adults group was like fresh out of, like still in uni, still living with their home. So I couldn't really socially relate to any of them because they were kids to me, right? So I went to the single adults department, which is filled of like losers that could never date anyone or recently single, divorced, like 40, 50-year-olds.
That's so dog.
And so I got stitched up with them, and I actually hooked up with one of them, and it was just like a mess. So to avoid her, I avoided the church, and I went to another mate's church, right? And so I went to another mate's church just to hang out with my mates. And then eventually they were kind of like, you know, you got to kind of commit, you know, sign here, you know, because there's an entry point. They don't sink their teeth into you straight away.
Groom you.
Well, really, there's grooming straight from the start, dude. As soon as you walk into one of these buildings, they know exactly who you are. They want all your details. They want you to come back, right? But in this church, they're kind of a bit more casual, but as soon as they kind of reason, you can call it a cult.
Have you seen, speaking of cult leaders, have you seen those pastors that recently got done with, they did like a pump and dump with crypto? Like Jesus coin or whatever.
That's amazing.
And they got caught by the government.
Right. Where was it here in America? Yeah, America. Yeah.
And they made like an apology video.
Oh, here we go.
But the apology video is so funny. It's of them like saying that God wanted them to renovate their house. Like God.
Yeah. Oh, it's always that, dude. And like the bigger they get, the more kind of brazen they get, right? They're just like, literally, God told me that he's going to give me like a private jet. So you're going to get it for me.
That's exactly what I was about to say. What's his name? What's that guy's name? Kenneth Copeland.
Yeah, the guy with the weird eyes, yeah.
Bro. If this... I'm just going to play a little clip from it. If this is not the most weird shit you've ever seen,
dude, that's the one.
bro.
That is the one.
This guy's fucking...
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm not in any facet a religious person.
Sure.
This is as close to a fucking demon as you can get.
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn the music off quickly just so I don't fucking fund this ad for people. Oh, wait, there you go. That's not an ad. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you bump elbows with these kind of people?
Not this guy, but like
these
similar,
these kind of people.
Yeah.
These people are worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. And all tax free.
All tax free.
Yeah.
That's why shout out to the Orthodox Church. I don't believe in you that much, but at least you aren't fucking kids and like fucking.
That's right.
Launder. Oh, you're probably laundering a bit of money because we're Greek, but like,
at least in a mafia way, not a weird religious.
There's no like weird heinous acts.
If I was to go back to a church, it'd be an Orthodox dude. They're cool. But this stuff. So the other church that I went to kind of like was the Adelaide version of that, and like aspired to be that sort of thing. And so they like moved to America trying to do that thing, and it's just not working.
Is that what that Edge Church is? Is that one of those?
Yeah, it is.
Is Edge Church like a...
Yeah, it's in the same sort of category, yeah, but they were kind of like the south, and we were kind of like northeast and city sort of thing, but yeah, the same sort of thing, the same jargon.
So when my dad fled Cyprus, his siblings all spread around the world. Like dad just came to Australia, my auntie went to America.
Yep.
One of them went to Greece.
Yep.
One of them stayed in Cyprus. My auntie in America is like a born again.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's what it was. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And my sister, when she was like younger, my sister's like 17 years older than me. She went to America when she was like in her 20s, early 20s. So I would have been baby.
Yep.
And she met up with all of my like dad's side.
Yep.
They took her to a church.
Oh gosh.
And they were like speaking in tongues.
Yeah. Yeah, I did all that.
You spoke in tongues.
I did all that.
Is that so that Satan can't hear your prayers? Is that what that is?
No, it's just like a... well, every church has a different explanation for it, but I think they weren't as... There's some churches that are as strict as to say, like, you are not, like, properly saved or a Christian unless you speak in tongues. Well, my church was like, you can be saved without it, but also, come on, like, level up. And, like, a part of it is, like, you've got to do, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a groupthink sort of exercise of, like... And that's, like, another level of submission is, like... Oh, I have to do this to like fit in with the group. I have to do this to prove myself, and so I just go on with it.
Is it literally just like blah, 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 blah?
Yeah. And like the church that I grew up in, the Potter's House, which is so funny and unique about them, it's like, so it was founded in America. Americans came here and planted churches everywhere, right? You've got like full dinky die Aussies. As soon as they start praying in an American accent.
Are you joking?
It is wild, right? And so to me, that is just like, okay, you're just literally monkey see, monkey do. There's no God in that. There's no Holy Spirit in that. And so, I was part of all that sort of stuff, and I was more than happy to like step away from it.
It's weird because you see like. I'm a big fan of like, not a big fan, but like I really used to delve into like serial killers.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan, but like I used to like obviously what like a lot of the Charlie Mansons like and occultist kind of things.
Yep.
Anton LaVey, even though like just those kind of characters.
Yeah.
And in your head you're like, what fucking retard would fall for that?
Totally.
But now that I've met you, and you're like a very normal dude. You're you're a fucking normal dude. You're hell more normal than me. And
what's funny is like it's the same argument. It's like most people that go to these churches are dumb, not intelligent, they're broken, blah blah blah, but they have really intellectual, smart people, engineers.
It's like Scientology.
Yeah,
that's the biggest one.
But I think it's a completely different ball game, and how they manipulate. Like, it's when I can't say too much, but I just want people to experience it to see what it's actually like, because they know it's a well-oiled machine. As soon as you walk through that door, they've just got you, right?
Interesting.
It's like a mind trick, man. Like they know,
and they're good at it.
They're really good at it. When I was at the other church, when we'd have like leadership meetings, you're taught certain tactics to interact with certain people and to make sure that they get you all their personal details. You're taught that stuff. Like, it's just normal. Nothing normal about that. It's like crazy weird sales techniques, but like on another level, man. Because and I think that a lot of it is that it's like you put God into the mix. And people just like would just do anything because like they want to please God, right? So knowing that, the pastor is like, oh, cool, wicked. I need more money. Let's just like preach another sermon on money and just like tell them to give. That sort of, it's just that simple. And now that I've stepped back and it's been over a decade, it's like, oh, how like obvious is it? But like I said, when you're in that bubble, it's just not.
I might have to join a cult for a YouTube video.
Do it.
Do you reckon anyone would take me on for a documentary purposes?
I think you should just do it solo, dude. Just get in there, get a little secret camera, just go in. It's crazy. It's weird.
What's the cult these days? What's the best one?
It depends on what you want out of a cult, I guess. Like America's just rifled with it. But what was that? Is it NXIVM, the one with the sex cult, and the guy would brand the chicks and shit? Is it NXIVM? Yeah.
In Australia?
No, in America. Like I'm saying, like America's just so prone to, I don't know what.
What was the one where he made him do like a mad mass suicide?
The Jonestown one? Yeah. Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, definitely. But like, honestly, like those same tactics he got to get them to drink the Kool-Aid are used today everywhere.
Well, it's like Charlie Manson at least was using psychedelics. So you can kind of get it.
And there's this, I don't even know, but there's all this stuff coming out and saying there was like a CIA. Like,
that's MK Ultra. No, it's not even coming out. It's fact.
It's like an actual factual. Like just psyop.
They used to get when LSD came out. They were like, how can we fucking use this in the 70s to like. The whole fucking hippie movement was all a psyop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah. Like the protests and stuff. Like,
all of it.
Here's a pallet of bricks.
All of it. It's all a psyop. And then they did the MK Ultra, and Charlie Manson just kept getting arrested and kept getting let out of jail. Why did he keep getting let out of jail?
Yeah.
And then LSD came into it, and then these hookers would have these brothels.
Yep.
And they would get these clients, and they would be they would be in a brothel, but behind the glass was CIA. This is all documented.
Oh, dude.
This is all documented.
That
like
it's
all released information.
Yeah.
By the CIA.
Wow.
They used to have like the mirrors where they're blacked out, but you can see through.
Gotcha.
And these hookers would dose the clients with LSD, and the CIA would watch what happened.
Really?
And how much they could like manipulate
yes.
And that's what Charlie Manson did. He just fucking used LSD to kind of trope people into doing these fucking heinous acts.
And you mix that with some sort of weird religious sort of like teaching and mix God into the mix. It's just, you've got people hook, line and sinker, dude.
God's a big one at the moment.
It's a big one.
God has made a resurgence.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's hell popular to be into Jesus.
It's kind of like only natural. It's like a response to like all this, the woke feminism stuff, right? And so people are like complaining, all these men are not feminists now, like feminism is just not cool anymore. It's like, you can't even support women yourself. What do you think? Like, you've been bagging on men for years now. Of course they're going to like revolt and go to religion.
Yeah, it's just religion. I feel like religion's really hot right now.
Yeah, it is, dude. Yeah.
Whether it be Islam or Christianity or whatever.
Islam's huge, man. Like, look at all these fighters, dude.
People fucking love believing in shit, dude.
Yeah.
They love believing in shit.
And as far as like the Christian beliefs go, like Christianity's different because in most religions, in the Abrahamic religions like Judaism,
you'd be really well versed on this as well, wouldn't you?
But also, I've forgotten a lot. But like Christianity's different because Jesus actually sacrificed himself. Like that, you won't actually find that in any other religions. And so, like a lot of what Christianity is like we're the top dogs because our God did something completely different to yours, right? But for them, it's like an elitist thing. It's like you can't actually believe in anything else because this is, Jesus did what no one else has ever done, and so we're always the top dogs. But I think when it doesn't take much for people to in Christianity especially, there's so many different versions of it, so many different doctrines.
That's why you can't believe it.
Yeah.
That's the reason there. Like, what's the real one?
At least with Islam, they've only got two, like the Sunnis and the
Yeah, some of them are
Shiites,
pretty some of them, like, some of the things in there are a bit like, but as long as as long as religion makes you less shit of a person, that's fine.
Oh, totally. And I think a lot of people...
I don't rag on... I kind of think it's a bit funny that people believe... Like, if you believe the stories aren't parables and they're like not meant for moralistics, like they're not meant to invoke a story rather than actual events, you're a fucking retard.
Totally, yeah.
Like, if you believe the stories, if you take them at face value, and you actually believe that Jesus died and then raised again, you're a fucking idiot.
There's a lot of people that do that.
But that did not happen. Like, but Jesus was a person.
Yeah, sure.
There was a person that claimed that he was the prophet of God at the end of the day. But there's also people now in Rundle Street on cocaine and crack that claim that they're the prophet of God.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
Like, so it's not unbelievable that there was a Jesus and he did great things.
Sure, yeah.
But believing that he turned a piece of fucking bread into 50 fish or whatever the fuck he did is so wrong.
And I don't know the ins and outs of like Islam, but like,
well, most people follow it, so it must be something to
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's pretty easily debunked, like marrying like a 9-year-old or a...
That's where I kind of fucking... I don't know about I won't shit on anyone's religion. Personally, if I was to choose a religion, I'd probably go the Mormon route because it's hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
It's funny as fuck.
It's pretty funny.
It's so funny.
I love seeing those videos online of like guys just asking like Mormon students things. They're like, would you rather kill a puppy or like drink a cup of coffee? And they're like, kill a puppy.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Is coffee no bueno?
Yeah, because it's a stimulant. It's a summer drug, and
I might have to repent some sins. Coffee's bad.
Yeah, I mean that's why Christianity is different. I think it's.
Do you feel like, because you were essentially caged up like a fucking animal for most of your life?
Sure.
Do you feel like that's why you've leaned into the expression of art as your outlet so much?
Possibly.
And it's shaped your kind of art style?
Yeah,
because there is a sadness to your art style. There's always undertones of like, I wouldn't say misery.
No,
no, there is. There's always there's always like a real undertone of like a real heavy sadness in all of your pieces.
I think that's definitely something I've got to work
and maybe
through
that's
with a
why.
therapist.
But no, it looks, it's good. It's It gives it weight. It gives your pieces like even the skulls. It's like even if you have like the beautiful skull you painted me with the blues and the mushrooms coming out of it, and the flowers. It's still a fucking heavy piece.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think. Well, to me, artwork should kind of have that sort of
emotion invoking.
It should evoke that sort of thing in it. Like, there's a lot of artists that can copy a photo. Great, awesome, technically amazing. But like, can you evoke and connect with people in that way? So in my artwork, I've always had that undertone. But I think, maybe that is something to explore. Like in like, if this sort of cult stuff has kind of had an effect on me that way.